So there you have three prepositions: what's in me, what comes through me from other sources, and what comes from me. I don't want to blame anything on the other person if I stand for it. And I want to be the kind of person that positive things come from them. I was asked recently, who do I think will be the next leader of the evangelical movement in North America, or in particularly my country, Canada? And I say, I really have no idea, but I really do believe that that person will be an individual who is willing to break some china rather than just sip tea from the china. It really is important that we change. Things are not going as well as they ought to go. And that means that we have to make things uncomfortable for ourselves and for others to change. Change comes at a cost. It doesn't ever feel great. The only person who really enjoys a change is a wet baby. Change is a challenge to all of the status quo in our life. And if we say we need to change things, I heard an individual, and I very much agree with this, I heard him yesterday, talk about church. This individual was well known. You'd know the name if I said it to you, but I avoid attaching names to things, particularly when it might be negative. This person was talking about how in the New Testament church, they came together, and it quotes a passage from 1 Corinthians where it says, every one of you has a psalm, a hymn, a doctrine, that there was a full participation. It wasn't all coming from the pulpit, from the preacher at the front. And that's a very significant thing of the New Testament church. But that individual who was saying that had spent decades being the person who was the voice. And rather than having the team be the voice, that person was the person who was doing all the speaking. So on the one hand, he had it right in terms of the way things ought to be, with a teamwork, a participation, with everybody contributing together, men and women alike. He had become a very positive, articulate voice, and I've learned a lot from this man's writings and the sermons and the things that he's written and put on the internet. But it's so important that we be the example, that it come from us as an example, not just as information that we gain from somewhere else, but something that we stand for, that it becomes the fence post from which things start for the future. Now, it has to happen in you first. And yes, all of us have a battle going on in us with the positive and the negative and the circumstantial difficulties that we face. All of us have information that comes through us that we pass on from someone else. But everybody wants to know where you stand, what you stand for, and that it starts with you and it comes from you, and you're willing to take a stand no matter what the cost is. Develop that attitude in life, and you will become someone who has a great power and influence, maybe only on a few. But if it's only on 1 or 2 or 10 in your lifetime, and everybody that you have an influence on becomes that influencer, and in turn, then it makes a huge difference on this planet. It's too easy to sit back and retire and say, well, my days have passed. It's far too easy. I have a responsibility to inspire others until the day when I can no longer do so. And I'm hoping that I'm doing that through these videos. And I'm hoping that you will subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Get the information flowing. This is coming out on YouTube. And YouTube has now the capacity to reach and become popular. We're starting small, but it can get big. If this is worthwhile information, then at least be the person who not only stops on the in, but that it works through you until the place where you've got something that is from you, where it starts with you in the first place. That's the difference that all of us can make and should make on this planet.